It's 12 o'clock noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for Rip It Live on Facebook, where we talk about all things softball, including college recruiting, high school happenings, the latest Rip It equipment and paraphernalia, so that we can educate you, the softball community, to make the best decisions possible, and you can see why more and more players, coaches, and parents are turning to the Rip It brand for their softball needs. I'm your host, Wes Pollock, and we have a blockbuster show today. Joining us will be the head coach of the 2018 World Series champions of Florida State Seminoles, Lonni Alameda, as well as the head coach of the Florida Gulf Coast University Eagles, Deiros. Coach Alameda and Coach Deiros are two of the most respected and successful college coaches in both the state of Florida as well as the entire country. Both run incredibly successful softball programs, and both can be seen regularly at the top college showcase tournaments, observing, evaluating, and analyzing the top recruits around the country for their softball programs. We feel privileged to have them take the time out of their schedule to appear on our Rip It Live on Facebook show. I've known both Coach Alameda and Coach Deiros for several years. We've always enjoyed a great relationship, especially when it comes to college recruiting of players, in terms of our rough organization and teams, and they've always been first class in the way they've dealt with players and coaches. What a way to close out our Rip It Live on Facebook final show of the season as two of the greatest coaches in college softball, and they are here to help educate you, our Rip It audience, on all things college softball and softball recruiting today on Rip It Live on Facebook. But before we get to Coach Alameda and Coach Deiros, we have our weekly Rip It Live on Facebook product giveaway. Last week's product winner of the $50 Rip It gift certificate is Lulu Colas. Lulu Colas is the winner of the $50 Rip It gift certificate. Congratulations, Lulu. And here's how you win. If you haven't done so already, you share a video, you tag a parent or coach, and please make sure it's public so we can see it. If we can't see it, you can't win the prize. So again, please share the video, tag a parent or coach, and please make it public. Our winners are always announced regularly on our show, but this is our last show, so I guess this will be our last winner for this season. And again, congratulations to Lulu for capturing the final prize. All right. As we move on, let's get back to Coach Alameda and Coach Deiros. Welcome, coaches, to the show.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, coaches. Appreciate you being here. I have a series of questions for you, and we'll just have a back and forth, and please, share what you can with our audience, who's obviously in great anticipation of listening in today. When you come into a new season, what types of goals do you set forth for your programs? Coach Alameda, you can go first.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, a little hard to hear.
Okay, no problem. What types of goals do you set forth in your program? Did you hear that?
No.
What types of goals?
Wes, I'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, you can hear? Okay, great. Okay. What type of goals, Dave, do you set for your program?
I heard the question, Wes. We basically set goals that are in line with what our university president and our athletic director sets forth, academic and athletic goals, community service and fundraising goals. That's what we set as a coaching staff, and then we work those goals into what we need to do with our team. They have their own individual goals, things that they want to accomplish, and then we try to make sure that everything is in line with what we set as our team and coaching staff goals. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how we go ahead and set it up. I think you get a lot of buy-in if the individuals get a chance to go ahead and work on their individual goals, as well as trying to make sure that everybody's individual goals line up with what we want to do as an organization.
Okay. Coaches, if you had a blank canvas for 2019-2020, what would be some items that you would consider filling out first for your recruiting year? Were you able to hear that?
FSU's roster.
FSU's roster?
It's really hard to hear.
Truthfully, when it comes down to, go ahead, Lonni, if you got it.
I kind of heard a little goal thing. I didn't hear the last question, but I'll go back to goals really quick. I know Dave already talked about it, but I think the goal for us is just to become the best student athlete you can become and the best version of yourself. So that's the ultimate goal. There's a lot of things underneath that, but I think when you head to college and you get the opportunity to play in college, you get the chance to grow as a person. So the ultimate goal is to leave here as a strong woman and to take on the world. So that's kind of what we get after. Yeah, so I didn't hear the second question. I'm sorry. There's a little delay going on here for me, so I can hear Dave a little bit, so I'll just piggyback on some of his questions.
Okay, that's fine. I think maybe the best route to go then is maybe I'll ask the question, Dave seems to be able to hear it. He can answer and respond, and then you can hear his answer and sort of respond in your own way. Maybe that's the best route to go. So I sort of said, if you had a blank Dave, if you had a blank canvas for recruiting for 2019-2020, what would you typically go and try and fill first?
Well, it really is a matter of just trying to find the best players that you can find to go ahead and meet what you're trying to go ahead and accomplish. And the cool thing about it is the best part of our job is watching our kids grow up right before our eyes. So, when we go out recruiting, we take a look at each one of the kids, and we're really looking at each one of the players, not necessarily for who they are at that particular moment, but how we project that they'll grow over the next, depending on how early you're recruiting them, 4, 5, 6 years. And that's what we're looking at when we're looking at each one of the players. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to go ahead and start off doing the things that you want them to do and meeting the goals that you want them to meet, and eventually watching them grow up right before your eyes.
Okay. I'm wondering if Coach Lonni can pick up on that by hearing your response.
Yeah. I think the question was like having a blank canvas going into the 1920 season. What would you recruit or looking for?
Yes.
I think that anytime when you're going to build a team or you're working on a team, of course, pitching and catching, up the middle, shortstop, center field, that's kind of what you build teams off of. And then you just build your team off of your philosophy. So, as you're rolling into your seasons, if you've got your core taken care of what you skill level need to compete at, so I've got my pitchers and catchers and my middle infielders to compete, then I go build off of what I need. So am I built off of a speed program? Am I built off of power hitting? And then, you got to look for those things as you recruit and going from there. So I agree with Dave and talking about the projection part. That's probably been the most amazing part of coaching is you get to go out and recruit kids that you think fit in your program, and then you get the opportunity to project what you think they're going to be. And now it's both your jobs, player and coach, to develop that and try to meet that goal. And that's probably the most exciting part as a coach is to see that transpire, and they earn that as a player, and you provide the opportunity for them to grow. So I think that's the fun part. You almost become like a parent watching them grow in college, and then they fill into what you're looking for, goals to fill the team.
How important is talent versus work ethic versus attitude? Dave? Coach Dave.
Hey, listen, there's an old saying, you can't make chicken salad out of you know what. So the long and the short of it, they've got to be able to play. They've got to be able to go ahead and meet what you're trying to go ahead and do. But the biggest inhibitor of growth is attitude and resilience. So you have to be able to go ahead and see that from the young player. And it's hard because I think when it comes to resilience and attitude, it's more of a maturity issue than it is an actual, individual issue. So you got to find players that are tough, that are willing to go ahead and work through failure, because we play a sport of failure, and that plays a big part of it. But what I've seen is, and sometimes it takes longer than others, the kids that are more likely to go ahead and deal with failure best are the ones that grow the quickest. The ones who have a little bit of a difficulty, turning things around are the ones that have the greatest barriers to be able to move forward.
Okay. Coach Lonni, you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I think the question talking about talent, work ethic, and attitude, correct? Is
yes.
That where I'm going, and I'm going to go with Dave right off the get-go. As much as a family atmosphere sport is and softball is, talent is the number one thing, right? So skill sets are the biggest thing that you got to get. You've got to be able to have skill sets to compete. I think attitude is a coachable thing. I think it's a controllable thing. So I think what differentiates kids is their work ethic and the smarts in their work ethic. It's one thing to come in and be a kid that actually puts time into work, but are you putting in smart work? And every kid's going to be different. It's just like going to math class. Some kids get math and they don't have to study at night. Some have to study 3 hours. I mean, that's just the way life is. So some kids got to figure out what their work ethic is to get them to be able to compete. But I think attitude is definitely something that can be addressed. If you got a kid that loves to compete, you think they have a bad attitude, maybe their attitude is just something that you've got to coach and control. What is a bad attitude? You know, I think quitting is probably the one thing that you don't want. Like, attitudes are just something you control and talk about. So I think that would be on the last part. I think that you look for talent, work ethic, and then you can coach and talk about the attitude part of it.
Okay.
There's a really interesting article in Time magazine. It just came out this week, and it's titled something along the lines of your parents have been lying to you that hard work gets you success. And it's a really thought-provoking article. It's worth the read because there are no guarantees, especially if you're in a really competitive environment. So, you know, what you think is working hard may not be working hard, and Lonni just referred to it as far as smart work.
Yes, that makes sense. What makes a great team leader in high school, travel ball, at college level? Is that a quality that evolves over time through maturity? Or is it innate to somebody, you think? Dave?
I'm going to go back and stick to your best team leaders are the ones that work the hardest. Your best team leaders are the ones that are able to get across or to get along with their teammates across any kind of demographic. And most importantly, your best team leaders are the ones who walk the walk. Yes. And do exactly what they say they want from everyone else. So it's their ability to hold themselves accountable and be able to do the things that are trying to go ahead and express the culture of your team.
And Coach Lonni, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Same?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can always see someone who's got leadership skills, but I think the one thing that really helps teams grow are the kids that are comfortable addressing uncomfortable situations. And I think a lot of people talk about teams and not being around drama and drama-filled things. And I think drama is life, and we create drama because we're a part of it. But the kids on the team, they're able to address it. It's a completely uncomfortable moment in front of your peers to talk about someone who's not tucking their shirt in or someone who's not getting their job done, and being able to address it, and not in a confrontational, angry way, but a confrontational, productive way. Those kids end up being a quality leader for your team. They're the ones that can speak up in your locker room, your war room, and get the team on page. So the ones that are comfortable with who they are and be able to live the values, like Coach Deiros said, the culture, and appreciate it, but speak up in moments that they know their gut instinct is they know they need to speak up, but do they have the courage and the ability to do it? So I think those ones really separate themselves, and they're hard to find. You don't get them I've probably had 3 legit captains, leaders over my career. Like, they're special. I don't think we have to push people into leadership. Sometimes you as a coach have to be the leader. They're really young, and I even look at people in administrative roles and staff roles. People don't like being uncomfortable, and having those moments really hold into accountability. So I think when you have someone that's special like that, appreciate it. And if you don't call people out for not leadership skills, but give them the ability to start to create those skills and have those conversations.
Okay. How important are academics to any potential recruit that you're looking at? And how those strong academics help them, their potential to be recruited, and subsequently help them in their overall scholarship offer?
Academics is everything. It's the reason that they come to school. Until our players start signing 7-figure bonus contracts out of college to be able to play professional softball, it's all about making sure that we are a medium to be able to go ahead and get their degrees and move on into whatever their professional pursuit is going to be. But we're doing some high quality stuff along the way in the athletic portion of it. So they've got, in order to be recruited, a young person has to make sure that they don't put up a barrier to their recruitment. Low SAT scores, failure to be consistently good in the classroom in their high school grades, poor recommendations from their high school coaches, their teachers, anything else are just a hindrance for them. They're red flags that basically say you're not going to go. And I refer back to something that Coach Alameda said earlier, and I've heard it from Jimmy Johnson and Bill Belichick, some of the best coaches in the country. It's better to coach smart players. It's very, very difficult to coach players who do not who do not learn easily. And that's the biggest issue of it. And I'm not talking about any kind of disability. I'm talking about that they're not putting in the time and the work to try to go ahead and get better.
Okay. Coach Alameda, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think, I've fortunately been all over the spectrum and being able to be around elite athletes at Stanford, Vegas here, a Division II school at Berry. I've been international, so I've been around all kinds of athletes at different levels. And I think there's a couple of things with academics is obviously the higher academics you can achieve, the more opportunities you might have for academic scholarships and Ivy Leagues and different levels. So, it's awesome that the more time you put in, the more opportunities you may have later down the line when you're talking about recruiting, that part of it. But, I think kind of what Dave said about, you don't have to be the smartest kid, but if you can balance and you can time manage, if you're a C student, a B student, A student, whatever you are, as long as you're owning it, showing up and putting in the time, that's the teammate I want to be around. So, just because you may be a B student or a C student, it doesn't mean that you're not a quality person that's getting after it and being a good teammate. So I think consistency and showing up and putting in the time is the most important piece that you look for. And I think some kids are test takers, some are not test takers. But again, if you see consistent across the board, you know exactly what kind of student athlete you're getting in here, and you know what buttons to push to get them to be the best possible version of themselves. So, so I think people that can put in the work, I think some people look at themselves like, oh, I'm only a C student or only a B student. I mean, you still can be an outstanding student, teammate, softball player as long as you own it and you push yourself to be the best you possibly can be. So just show up, be there, and put the work in. So I think that's kind of where you look at it that way.
That's good. Yeah, I respect that, and I think that's an excellent piece of advice. How important is it for a prospect to be able to play more than one position well enough to be able to handle the college level? And do you look for overall athletes or specific expertise, or just specifically what you need in that specific graduation year?
I think when it comes to what positions or the versatility that a player has, I look at it from the perspective of, you be the best that you can be at whatever position or positions you're working at. Try to go ahead and learn as much as you can on how to be the best at that particular position, and then you can learn other things. There are some high demand or high specialty positions that are just difficult to go ahead and dabble at. Pitchers, catchers. In my opinion, a shortstop is really the most difficult infield position other than pitcher and catcher on the field. So I look at it from the perspective, be the best you can at whatever position it is. If it's only one position, don't worry about it. We'll show you how to play other things. The best anecdote I can give you is back in 2010, I recruited 4 shortstops, and I was going to have them duke it out every single day at shortstop to see who the starting shortstop was. We moved one to third base pretty quickly. We moved one to center fielder right after that, and the other one moved up to second base, and we had our starting infield, basically our core for 4 years straight. So shortstops are gold in my book as far as that's concerned. They're really good shortstops. They can play anywhere on the field. But let's not forget about great pitchers and catchers either.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach Lonni, you feel similar in your view?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, earlier when you talk about kind of the blank canvas of putting together a team, I mean, you got to have pitchers and catchers. You got to have middle infielders. I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes. That's just building a team, and that's taking the feelings out of it. That's how you build a team. After you go through that, I mean, the more versatile you are, the better opportunities. And if you look at softball, the business side, and I'm running the business, I've got to go find out the best who's in their business, right? So your value to the ball club, if you're a hitter that can't run, that is not going to be able to play a position, I mean, what's that value? What's that worth to the team? And I know when we put Susie and Julie, we put names to it, they're amazing kids, but when you put the skill set to it and they get on the ball field, is that a full ride kid to come off the bench and swing the bat one time a game because they can't run and play a position? Now, if I can swing the bat, I can play a position, I can play outfield, I can throw a little bit, I can run a little bit. Now the value goes up because you're able to play a little more games, And so I think sometimes we just got to sit back and look at the business side of it. And if I'm young and I'm playing, if I can play a lot of positions and do a lot of things, now all of a sudden my value becomes bigger to the program and where that fits in. So I think that's one of those things that, we kind of always talk about. Catchers are so important in our game. Can the catcher get outside, play a little first base, a little outfield? Can the catcher run the base to help their versatility down the line? So they may be an amazing catcher, but they're not going to catch all 60 games. So where else do we go? I got to give them a little bit of a break. So think about the value that you bring to the squad of 20 to 25 kids and where you fit in that. And then that helps you with your versatility and what you're trying to do at a young age.
That makes sense. What is your advice to parents and recruits when choosing a school in the softball program? Some get sort of carried away with the Division 1, 2, some like the big national.
Best advice I can give to parents is, number one, prepare financially to be able to go ahead and to very few kids are on full rides. There is going to be some sort of accordingly. And if you know in advance, I mean, don't treat it any differently than if your child wasn't playing softball. Have it as a backup plan and make sure you're ready to go ahead and go if you're able to go ahead and do so. Second thing is make sure you investigate, because most typically the youngster is going to go ahead and graduate from there. They'll find their first job there. Is that a place they want to live and work their life? And the last piece of it is a big work. I like the way that Lonni said it earlier best. We provide the opportunities, and it's the responsibility of both sides, not just the coaching staff to make sure that they are teaching appropriately, but it's also the responsibility of the young person to come in and just work every single day to get.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I would just, as a parent, try to remove yourself from the moments. It's so easy to get caught up in the Joneses and what everybody's doing. But in reality, when you're sitting around the dinner table and it's about 5 years from now and your kid is graduating from college, like, you want them to have grown. And so what is that position for them? And, to get caught up in who's getting what scholarship and who's going where truly doesn't matter. Where's my daughter going? And is she going to be to play every single day? Then find out where that fit is. If that's maybe being a role player, then that's okay. If that's someone that's going in to maybe bust your tail for 2 years and play your junior and senior year, you want to be challenged, you want to get into. So if you get caught up in the Joneses and trying to make sure that you have a school to put down next to your name on the and in 2 years, like, my daughter is miserable. Like, we didn't really research what was best for Susie, and I think that that's important. Is program that are happy people, and that first couple of years you may be excited about wearing the jersey. You're going to grow as a person and take advantage of everything at that university. That could be high Division 2, that could be a JUCO to a Division 1. a part of it, think about the best for your daughter, and then be able to move forward in your 4-year journey.
Yeah, I thought you said something interesting, the Jones theory. When people are sitting in the stands watching travel games, asking people where their kids are going to school, and everyone loves to tell them that they're going to this school or that school. Gone.
Yeah.
We're past the gossip stage, the ego stage, and now you're living with your decision. So I agree with you that most importantly, look after your best interest, not worry about what makes them, what name of a school makes them feel, better than showing interest in school. How far in advance should they look, for example, to be, if they're interested in your schools, then should they let you know and able to go to camps and showcases? But they want to get on the radar early with your schools and programs. So you recommend doing that a couple years in advance, 2-3 years in advance of the grad year?
That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why we were asked as coaches to change the recruiting rules. So, I think anybody who says that there is a timetable really isn't saying what's actual.
Okay.
If you're really good as a player, you'll get found. So it doesn't matter if they find you as a 7th grader or they find you as a 12th grader. If you're good at what you do and you have basically removed all academic barriers from going to the year, it's more of a 2-way process than people think. I think that the parents and students have to do some research and make some difficult perspective. My son, who doesn't play intercollegiate athletics, didn't make his decision as far as where he wanted to go until May 1st of his senior year. And I'm actually phone during batting practice to talk about the pros and cons. So there is no timetable, there is no gun to anybody's head. It's about making sure that you make the right decision.
Yeah, because you don't want to take anybody too early who's going to potentially back out a year later because they weren't sure of their decision because they felt it's you who's ready to commit to you and is 100% in.
Listen, it's difficult in both perspectives because every kids because they thought they had to, and then they're looking at where the kids are and they're not progressing the way they want to. Kids make decisions early and be patient, but once you decide where you want to go ahead and stick with it and do the best you can with what it is, because something attracted you to decide player, and it's a process.
Okay. And Coach Lonni, you agree? Or you have your own perspective on it? No, it's Coach Lonni there?
Yep, here, sorry, I can hear you.
No problem. No problem.
I think probably, I don't know if the question was a little bit about the later recruiting and later process of it, but I totally agree a little bit with what Dave was talking about. There is no timeline for it. The whole thing is just about finding the right fit for you. And now that the recruiting rule has gone back to junior year, which is players develop a little bit later, have a little more experience. And now we as coaches and you as players and families get to decide the right fit at more of a timeline that is a little bit more like most college or high school kids going to college. So I think we're in the right. It's really good because you're not just excited about the colors and who's on TV. You're actually excited about the major that you want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where do most of your most recent recruits come from across the country? Is that something?
There are no boundaries, my friend. There are no boundaries, and it's just a matter of you just trying to go ahead and find the best players for your program. That's where it is. Good players come from everywhere.
Okay, makes sense. Coach Lonni, the same? Find the best available wherever. So I know she's on a delay, so. right. Competitive teams over the years. What do you attribute that to?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
You've had consistently competitive teams over the years. What do you attribute that to?
What do I attribute the success of our teams? Is that
Yeah. The success of your team and your program.
It really comes down to one thing. It's you have to get some really good players who go ahead and buy into what you want. I'm fortunate to have that for the last 17 years, and we're going to continue because of the successes of the previous ones.
And Coach Lonni, you're saying after winning the World Series, the highlight of your career, I'd imagine. You've always had great teams. Is it?
World Series is definitely up there with winning the national championship. I think there's a lot of highlights, in the sense that I honestly, every single year when kids graduate, it's pretty awesome to see them grow as people. So I kind of put that number one, over it. Of 10 years of amazing people pouring into this program. So, but I'm going to kind of go back to what Dave said about, it's the culture. So if you get juniors and seniors that continue to teach your freshmen and sophomores, so if your program is worried about the seniors that are leaving, like how are we going to replace them? Then I haven't done a really good job as a coach to protect the culture. They've got to give down to the younger ones so can continue to stay at that level. Having the mindset of defending a national championship, it was really hard this season because everybody put the expectations on repeating, which is something that a lot and to be where our feet are. So I think that part's important, and I think Dave hit on that correctly.
Okay. And just lastly, quick summation, what advice would you give parents, coaches on who coach kids who raise? If you can quickly surmise, what advice would you give them?
Yeah.
The best. Go ahead, Lonni, if you heard the question.
Yeah, I
I
did.
want to hear.
The best advice is to make sure that you do what's best for you. And that's the same thing as people in life, right? Like it's so easy to see what other people are doing and try to do what other people are doing. So make sure that you research the best for you and, really have that good, honest, big girl moment talks as you go into the recruiting process and own what's best for you. Of a college 4-year journey, you will be so much stronger of a person and happier as a family in the end. So I think that's the biggest thing is to make sure what's best for you and research what's best for you.
Okay, great. And Coach Deiros?
I'm going to steal Lonnie's. Say it really is for the student athlete. It's all about making sure that they enjoy putting the work in, and they enjoy practicing. They enjoy competing. They're really looking forward to travel. They're appreciating all the things that are going to happen in their college career because it is loads of fun if they approach it with the right attitude. If they really take the negative connotation of that word grind, they're going to have a really, really difficult time. The parents, this is most of them are work that, they have a job, they own businesses, and this is a business decision. And the only thing that complicates things is that your blood and flesh is involved in the decision. You kind of distance yourself from it and make sure that you make for your young person. You help them on the business side and go ahead and give them the best advice on how to take care of the personal stuff. But ultimately, it's going to be your decision at the end financially what to go ahead and do. And just make sure you approach it as the best business decision you can.
Great advice from both Coach Lonni Alameda of the Florida State Seminoles and head coach David Deiros of the Florida Gulf Coast University Eagles for appearing on our Rip It Live on Facebook show. We appreciate you spending time with us and offering our Rip It audience some invaluable insight and opinion what you each look for in potential recruits. I want to wish you personally a great summer. Teams the best of luck as you move forward towards the 2019-2020 season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Lonnie.
Bye, Denny.
One of our favorite and most popular segments. This is the big time heroes who closed out the high school season. Winter Springs capped off a perfect 25-5 Oak Leaf team 7-6. Kaylee Mudge, who has had some big games, with a home run and 2 RBIs. The 27 Crystal River squad edged the 29 Rockledge team 22-0. Jaden Vickers was outstanding in the pitching circle, throwing a complete game shutout with 14 strikeouts. Teams going to the state championship. The 27-2 Apopka squad 4-0. Tyrena Jones was the key in the pitching. The 31-0 Winter Springs High School team outlasted the 31 Lakewood Ranch team 3-0. Ainsley Furbush, who has been a repeat high school hero, 1 hit while striking out 4 over the course of 7 innings. The 29-3 Park Vista team again held off the 23-5 Newsom team 3-2 in an extra 8-inning affair. The 22-9 Lake Region High School knocked off the 22-5 Doral Academy High School team 9-3. Breasia Thomas was 3 for 5, while Megan Branch was 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and Kylie Baldwin was 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Savannah Barnett went the distance in the pitching circle for Lake Region to pick up another win. Then Lake Region advanced to beat Creekside 8-3 to win the high school state championship. Kaylee Fail was 2 for 4, while Breasia Thomas stayed hot, going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, as did Kylie Baldwin, who went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. Savannah Barnett once again helped lead her team both offensively, 7 innings and striking out 7 hitters. If you remember, Savannah was a guest on our Ribbit Live show last week when we discussed preparing for the state championship. Savannah held true to her word when she said she was bringing home the rings, her and her team. Savannah then took about 24 hours off before she came out to help our Wildfire 18U team play in our first tournament of the season. We'll have more on that shortly. Anchors up is Admiral Farragut won their 2nd consecutive state championship. 4 runs, and Catch FA went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 5 runs scored. Brielle Benefield pitched a complete game and struck out 12 to pick up the win. Congratulations to Coach Bill Hoops and company on the big win. Finally, a shout out to my Windermere Wildfire 18U team as we played our first tournament of the summer season, the D9 Power 32 College Showcase. Our team played 8 overall games in scorching temperatures of 95 to 100 degrees and came away with the tournament championship victory. I was proud of my team. We just came together after a couple practices after the tournament championship, as well as the Wildfire sweep at D9 Power 32 College Showcase, as the Wildfire Paulson 16U team captured the 16U division crown. Congratulations to for winning their 2nd tournament championship of the season. And that is the final time of the season for your Ripon High School and travel. Reminder, there'll be a Ripon sale May 31st from 4 to 8. Bring your teams, tell your friends. With information for RSVP in the events comments section on the episode. As you know, again, this will be the last discounted sale of the season of this May 31st, 4 to 8. As I mentioned before, this is our last Ribbit Live on Facebook show of the season. We hope that you all have enjoyed the series. We've tried to capture and provide the high school season, as well as the latest Ribbit equipment and paraphernalia. And we hope you will stay tuned for what we have in store for the next season on our live show. I have certainly enjoyed being your host, and it's been a great experience for me being able to be part of the Ribbit team, and hopefully helping provide insight and information as a seasoned travel and high school ball coach, as well as a college softball parent for you, our Ribbit audience who are watching on Facebook. The video with everybody. For joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you